Good morning. Bye. Thanks for being here. How are things?
Things are good. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Yeah. On a short notice, you okay to be on here, and again, it's good to be in San Jose. Good to see the sunshine. Obviously, it's California. So, you you know, to be honest with you, I actually did not know too much about you until obviously one of the good things that Instagram has done is it connects us with people like you. So, Abhishek, do you want to just give us a quick intro of yourself, and then I'll add more to that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. For the listeners, my name is Abhishek Bastola. I'm from Nepal. I was born in Hong Kong. Tennis has been my life. I'm 27 years old, and yeah, I love playing tennis, competing, representing my country.
Yeah, Abhishek, thank you for the introduction. So he's being very humble right now. He is probably the best ever Nepali tennis player that has played the game for Nepal. You played in Davis Cup with the most wins, 6-0, if I'm not mistaken there. The only player to win any games in Davis Cup, right?
No, there's other players, but I think I hold the most wins, and then I
Most
have
wins.
most wins for Nepal. Yeah.
So, Abhishek, can you tell us a little more about your experience with a lot of people, they may know about tennis, right? You may know of the Wimbledon and the Grand Slams and the big tournaments. But can you tell us a little bit more about the Davis Cup, why it's so important?
Yeah, for me, like it's always been a dream of mine to represent Nepal. It's an honor for me every time I play for my country. I feel like a shoulder, like a warrior, kind of like Gorkhas, playing for my country, and then I take a lot of pride, and then I just leave everything on the court when I play for my country, and I know like I'm representing like the 30 million people that's in the country, and obviously being good at tennis gives me that opportunity, and there's no better feeling than winning for my country, and Davis Cup. We made our debut 2023, and then one of my most memorable moments where I beat the number one player from Qatar
Okay, very impressive.
in Bahrain, and I was sick during that match, and it was like a 3 hour match, and it was super hot and humid, and I was able to get through the finish line, and then now having beating the best player from all 6 countries is it's a great achievement, but I want to keep going, and I feel
Absolutely, absolutely. Abhishek, सानो बेलाको बेलामा अब हामी नेपालमा जहाँ हुर्किन्छौँ, but you were born in Hong Kong, you said,
yes.
right? So did you learn tennis in Hong Kong, or like at what point you're very interested in tennis? Can you tell us a little bit about your
Yeah, I think since I was very young, I was very athletic, and like एकदमै चकचक गर्ने बच्चादेखि नै, and then my parents, my dad played recreationally, and
and this is in Hong Kong or
no, in Pokhara,
in Pokhara, Nepal? Okay.
and my uncle Tuluba had a tennis court in Pokhara. So I just picked up a racket, and then my cousins used to play during that time, and then I just started when I was 9 years old.
9 years old, and you have to start early because tennis is one of those sports. I think I'll kind of learn from one of your sessions that you did. I believe it's like the fourth most popular sports
Yes.
in the world, right? But it's a lot of technical stuff. It's not soccer or football just to kudera ball haneko होइन. There's a lot of technicalities, like the backhand, the forehands, the service, and all that. So Nepalko एउटा I was pleasantly surprised that we actually have a good player in you that has done very well. So how is the system Nepalमा चाहिँ, let's say if someone's trying to take up tennis, right? What are the infrastructure that is there? So कसैले अब मलाई tennis, I'm interested in tennis भन्दाखेरि, but do we have associations, or what do we have right now where, or at least when you're growing up, when you're 9 years old, can you take us a little bit through that journey?
Yeah, I think mainly it's all self. Like I was super self-driven, motivated, and then I was very grateful to have my family support. They've supported me on like every step of my journey, like whether it's like financially or emotionally. But other than that, I just feel like there's no support from, the federation or government. I feel like even though winning matches for my country, I don't get a single penny. I don't get compensated for winning, and that's kind of like discouraging for athletes because, for instance, like the number one player from Qatar is getting paid like $20,000-$30,000 just playing the World Cup and bonus for winning, and then Bahrain is getting like 15,000-20,000, and then meanwhile me being a Nepali, like that's a disadvantage, in terms of financial gain. And obviously I feel like it's very important, like to it gives you freedom, and then it also my effort and my attitude would be tied to,
of course.
So I think that's a big disadvantage, and I think that's one of the reasons where like I feel like people are like kind of not just tennis but other sports too, like going abroad, for a better future.
Absolutely.
And I think in the managerial side, there's in Nepal, like I don't know, I think they should look more bigger in terms of like what can we do to develop tennis or like sports rather than like they're like being in the association and things like that.
Understood. म सानोमा हुँदाखेरि म नै देश छोडेको झन्डै 20 वर्ष हुन लागिसक्यो अनि I remember, so my dad was a police officer. And once a while, I think I would go to Mahindra Police Club, and I think there were some tennis courts there. So, but I think it's also like, I think you talked about this a little bit earlier. It's one of those sports which you need help, you need resources. It's not like football just होइन. So you need someone to back you up, but also like you need coaches, you need this entire system basically, right? So as of now, from your understanding, we don't have a proper system for tennis, right?
Yes.
In Nepal, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I feel like right person are not in the right place, like in like most of the sectors in Nepal, and then I just feel like we need more passionate people.
Sure.
So that way, their only like objective is to how can we make tennis better, or like how can we promote tennis, and how can like I feel like you said, like tennis is just a one person, like, so I feel like if Nepal can support me, or like a federation and like government sports council, like there's a higher chance of me making it to professional level than a whole team where like, and that's one of the reason I started playing tennis, because I would play soccer and I would be really upset losing a soccer match because my effort was like 200%, and my other teammates didn't put as much effort as me that I did. And in tennis, it's all on me. I feel like if I lose, it's on me, and I feel like I can learn from that and then move forward. And if I win, I get all the credit, and that's the aspect. And I get a lot of more playing time as well, being an individual sport.
Individual sport, the benefit that you have with it is your effort. It's all you. Either you if you're upset at your double fault or it's your fault really, right? And the idea that again going back to हाम्रो नेपालको एउटा प्रब्लम भनेको it's been going on for a while. Cricket is a great example. So when I was growing up, we didn't really have a system. Me and my friends, we were half decent at cricket, and I actually wanted to be a cricketer in Nepal all those years ago, right? But we didn't really have a proper channel. First of all, there was obviously, you didn't have social media and things like that. But I think finally the tide is turning, at least on the cricket end. Football is a disaster, I think. I know about US मा बसेर नेपालको नराम्रो कुरा गरे भन्दा पनि it has not gone anywhere. हाम्रो एउटा दर्शक रङ्गशाला छ जहाँ चाहिँ अब हाम्रो फर्मर जापानको खेलाडी होन्डादेखि लिएर अरू खेलाडी आएपछि अस्ति someone was saying like hilo cup khilaya bhanera kinane you had like goalkeeper ko आँखामा हिलो लाग्यो भने so हाम्रो infrastructure त्यस्तो छ हैन so that's why for me one of the thing that really caught my attention was, see, I never thought of like tennis and Nepal as a two of those words joined together, right? That's why it's pleasantly, I was pleasantly surprised to be connected with you, and thank you. First of all, again, congratulations. This is not an easy sport, first of all, and you going out all the way to win these Davis Cup matches and beating Qatar, Yemen, Maldives, Guam, Brunei, and Bahrain, right? Those were the countries that you had. That's fabulous. At least I'm happy in this regard that your talent is being appreciated by the universities here in the US.
Yeah.
So you are the only Nepali. So everyone, please listen to this, right? The only Nepali to play NCAA Division First tennis, and that's no joke. So can you take us through that journey a little bit? You कसरी सुरु भयो त? So you came here on a scholarship. Can you take us through the US journey?
So what happened was, I was recruited to play at ASA College in Miami, 2016. It was a junior college, and then I was not eligible to play in the Division 1. And I got recruited based on my ITF junior rankings. I was around like 771 at that time in the juniors. And I didn't play my last year because it's, again, very expensive. You have to pay for your own flight, hotel, and then there's no money. So I came to, I was in Miami from 2016 to 2017, middle of 2017, and I graduated. I got my associate degree. And then I was eligible to play Division 1, NCAA Division 1. And then I transferred to University of Texas, Arlington. So I played there for a year. And then I had great competition. Division 1 is like, we have like 4 or 5 coaches. You're like taken care of. You get rackets, shoes, gears. You have really good physio, like athletic training room and all that. And plus, you also get tutoring if you're struggling with any subjects like academically. And so that was a great experience. And then after that, 2018 to 2020, I transferred to St. Mary's College of California it's in Moraga. And I had a great experience there playing against like best players from like top players from Stanford, all the, West Coast, like where Pepperdine, San Diego, USF, Santa Clara. So, overall, it's been a great experience for me. I think I developed a lot. I grew a lot as a player, person, and then I matured a lot. And then I think tennis gave me that opportunity to, be part of this, get a good education. And in the summer, I was playing pro tournaments. And then after 2020, I was playing more pro tournaments after I graduated.
And obviously, you were on a full scholarship at these universities, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And close to full, because I didn't have to pay tuition and I had to pay a little bit for living. And
that's pretty good. And again, at least you're being appreciated for that, right?
Yes.
So your current world ranking for ITF is that your current?
No, that's not my current. That was my ranking at 2023, and it's been a year. I have not quite played that much. Yeah.
Okay, and. So I actually was looking this up. I actually did not know this, right? So you were hitting partner for a few of the top players in the world, and this was in Indian Wells, in California. Can you take us, first of all, let's talk about what is a hitting partner? Can you tell us, describe like what a hitting partner is?
Yeah, so basically hitting partner is like you're there for the player. So my job as a hitter is like whether it's like warming up players before their matches or like helping players with like some drills or playing practice sets with them. So yeah, I feel like I'm punching back for the for the top players. Yeah, that's my job. There like as a hitter.
And is there any? Can you tell us like your experience with? So you spent a little bit of time with Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray and the other ones. Can you tell us a little bit of your experience with Novak?
Yeah, I mean, was my idol. You know, him and Andy Murray growing up because I had a really good. I have a really good two-handed backhand, and I would kind of try to like imitate their backhands. And then like this was 15 years ago, and then now like being on the same court, like with them, I just feel like their aura and their personality, and I mean, they were super nice people. I got to chat with them, spent some time with them on the court, and then I played soccer with Djokovic. So overall,
It was a good
yeah,
experience,
it was a
obviously.
great experience, that like a very invaluable experience that I think if it wasn't for tennis, like I don't think I would ever
Yeah.
get that opportunity to like meet or interact or be on the court with them. Yeah.
Okay. And you were the only Nepali, right, to compete in the UTR Pro Series,
Yes.
top 3,000, right? What exactly is that?
Yeah, so basically you have to be around. So UTR is on a scale of 1 to 10. So I think right now my UTR is around 12, and then so that means like I would kind of be around like top 2,000 player in the world. So so only top 3,000 players are like kind of like selected. Whoever signs up on those 3,000 players, the 20 players get accepted into the tournament. So I played a lot of the UTR Pro Series. It gives me, and the matches are live streamed. So this year I played one in Japan, and then I've played maybe around like 10 UTR Pro Series tournaments.
Okay.
And it's a great opportunity for me to like develop, because I know I get like 5 guaranteed matches against like the top players in the world.
Good seed players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only thing is like it doesn't count as a ATP ranking.
Oh, okay. So it's a different segment of,
Yes.
of tennis. Okay. So I know you talked about your early days, how you got into tennis. It was really, you had a court and, you would play, you just pick up a racket. We did talk about the challenges for a Nepali athlete, which, it's pretty common all across the board, right? What are the other challenges? Obviously, we have the financial challenges and we have like the support that not necessarily is out there. But besides that, you had to travel a lot for tennis, right? Can you talk about a little bit for your sacrifices, because it's not easy, I'm sure.
Yeah. So basically, growing up in Nepal, I went to boarding school. So till like 13 years old, I didn't have. I think I started playing. Actually, I started tennis when I was 9 years old, but I started playing more regularly when I was 14 years old, and that's kind of like late for tennis. Kids nowadays start like when they're 6, 7 years old, and they play every single day. They play tournaments and stuff like that. So yeah, I just felt like I had a very humble beginning in Nepal, and my dad built like a wall in the back of our house, and then I remember I would I would hit like 3-4 hours a day in the wall, and that was like the best practice for me, because there was no one who played pro tennis in Nepal that I could like look up to or like ask questions and things like that. Like I felt like I had to
Kind of
make my
figure it
own
out.
way, and I was very curious about the game. So I would ask questions to like a lot of other coaches and things like that, or players that were better than me, who's played at a higher level. So I think those were few like disadvantage, but also in a way that I think made me like stronger mentally, and then I like had more willpower like when I stepped onto the court, because I didn't take anything for granted, coming from Nepal.
Absolutely.
Like things like that. And then so when I came to US, I had the game, my tennis was good, but I was just not able to like put it all together, because I lacked tennis requires like, I mean, once you have the fundamentals, it's about like higher level tennis. I feel like it's more physical, mental, like being mentally, emotionally, psychologically strong, and then tactics. You have to have really good tactics, meaning like, how do I make my opponent play bad? How do I get through the finish line? Even though with my average tennis, I have to find a way to win matches, because I'm not gonna play like 10 out of 10. That might happen once or twice a year, but I think other times. And so I think that taught me a lot. And then just being on my own, like traveling alone, you start to like how you're off court is like that also reflects on the court. So like mentally, I think over the time I mature a lot, and then it was like very like I had to figure out it on my own. There was like no help for me, and then I've never like actually had a full-time coach or anything. So I've always been my own coach, and that also is an advantage, in a way that like you don't take things for granted.
Was a homesickness को एउटा कुनै कुराले पनि affect गर्यो कि एउटा पोइन्टमा कि अब was that a factor in some sense?
I think I mean I'm pretty attached to my my mom and then my dad, like we talked tennis, but then I feel like just being in boarding school like since I was very young, like grade 5 देखि नै, so I think I don't feel that kind of home. I mean when I'm playing tennis I'm pretty happy, so I think
okay.
yeah.
So Abhishek, a very important question. There was probably a time where you realized that, okay, you know what, I'm good enough to at least play pro at some level. So I know you got your scholarship to come to the US. It was a university, I think, in Florida.
Yes.
Right. So how did that happen? So can you take us a little bit through your journey, Zance, when you realized, okay, I can play professionally, and how did that scouting? Like, so can you take us to that journey a little bit?
Yeah, before, like I was emailing coaches. I was like 17 years old, and then I felt like if I'm just gonna stay in Nepal, like my pro ambition like is gonna die, because there's
Absolutely.
like and I didn't have that financial, like I mean in Nepal we don't have this culture of sponsorship or anything for like tennis players, so and tennis is a very expensive sport, meaning like you have to travel to 30 countries, flights, hotel, and then get like professional training, and all that kind of stuff would cost me more than $100,000 a year, and then that's just not sustainable, and there's no like certainty to become a pro, even though I spend like 10 years or like 5 years doing that training. There's no guarantee, right? So I started talking to a couple of my friends who were playing tennis, and then on the ITF junior tour, and they told me like, oh, college is a good option, like
were they in Nepal or were they already in the US?
No, they were like, I met them in the tour, like in Thailand or India when I was in a junior circuit.
Oh, it's not Nepali players you were talking about. Okay, understood.
Like some foreign players or some of the American players. And then they said like college is a good option, like, where you have like world-class training, you get like good education, and then you develop, over 4 or 5 years period when you're in college. And no one from Nepal has ever played. So I started emailing coaches like, oh, I'm interested in your university. Like, do you have a spot or things like that? And then I think coaches were reaching out to me as well, and few things was I wanted to be in a hot place for tennis because I didn't want to be anywhere cold. So that limited my options. Sure. And then I felt like, and Florida was a great option for me because it has a history of tennis. There's a lot of
big,
and things like that. So and it was a no-brainer. And then and the coach gave me a scholarship, and then I got my visa, and then just came to US.
Yes. And it's been what, like 2016? That was in 2016.
Yes.
And it's been almost like 9 years. Right?
Yeah. So 20. Yeah, it's been like 9 years.
Time is just flying. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. I know we talked about like the Davis Cup, and you played in the NCAA Division First, right? In your experience, or what has been your best experience playing this game? Like so far, I know you've been hitting partners for the top players. You played in Division 1. What has been the best experiences that you've had in this sport?
Like I've met so many like cool people, playing tennis. I think tennis has been my identity. And then, people, like last year, I beat the number 1 player from Bahrain for us to move the division. So out of 15 countries, we finished number 1, like Nepal. And then, so I beat the number 1 player from Bahrain, and then the president from Bahrain Tennis Federation, I think he was from the royal family, and then he put a medal on me. So that was like a pretty cool moment, and then meeting all these players, like friends that I have through tennis. I have a lot of friends globally, like in a lot of countries, and it's all through tennis and the relationship I had over the years, people I've met, the experiences I had, like were like very invaluable, and and it tests you, and then win or lose, I just feel like I love this journey and the experience and playing tennis and competing.
It's very commendable, Abhishek, because I cannot reiterate this fact that you come from Nepal, where I know how the system is, and again, I don't want to bash my own country. We don't want to do that, but that's the state, that's the reality. That's what we're talking about. This is someone that has practically has had no coach. Not a whole lot of resource, and yet you managed to come so far. And so let's talk about your current status. You're fairly young still, although that has changed a little bit, right? So before, I think, you talk about maybe 15 years ago or so, being in the mid-20s was too old for tennis. Now Djokovic he's playing still, right?
He's like 37.
He's 37. He's like
older,
He's like, so now this has completely changed, or he has completely changed. And even Federer, I think Federer and Nadal, they played for a long time. So where are you currently in your journey? What's your aspiration about future Makiganita? Like what do you do?
I mean, I love tennis, and I'm still playing, competing. So I'm training every day. Like, I'm doing fitness and keeping myself fit. Just waiting for the opportunity. Like, what's the next opportunity for me? I think end of this month, I might go to Atlanta or Newport Beach to play UTR Pro Series tournament, because I think those are like good for me, because I get 5 matches and it's in the country. And then there's like a certain guaranteed prize money for playing those events.
Okay.
So I think it just covers my, I don't know, like cost, like flight or hotel and things like
expenses.
That. Exactly.
Okay. And do you have an out and out sponsor right now, or are you just getting by, they'll pay you certain money and you just kind of, it just offsets your travels?
Yeah, I think right now I don't have a sponsor. And then, and in Nepal, like, I think like $1,000 or something, it's not gonna like make an impact on my journey and stuff. So so far I think my parents and have been my like biggest sponsor. And I'm just kind of managing just cutting down expenses, like just training, doing fitness on my own, or like just practicing with a friend, or just training.
Well, if anyone is listening to this that is willing to be a sponsor, we have a great player in Abhishek. So that is something that I'd definitely would like to point out, or like at least put it out there. So future goals, obviously, you want to keep on going.
Back to future goals. I want to be the best player I can be, and I feel like there's a lot of tennis ahead of me. I'm only 27. Now I think I'm a much better player now than I was like 3-4 years ago, with the experiences that I have had playing at a high level, representing Nepal, and then playing all these professional tournaments, college tournaments. And my ultimate goals are like to represent Nepal in the Olympics.
Okay, yeah.
I think that gets me going, and then and playing the Grand Slam. I want to play in the Grand Slam, whether if it's qualis, one day, and put Nepal in the tennis map.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you kind of talked about this just earlier, and I can tell, and people can also tell. Every single time you talk about playing for Nepal, there's a big smile that comes to your face. Can you tell us the pride that you feel? Cost of feeling when you go out and you have your flag probably draped around you, you're representing your country. Can you take us describe that feeling for us?
First of all, when I was a kid, I think that's actually what like pulled me into tennis, because I remember I was 13 years old and I first represented Nepal in the under 14s, and then that was a very like proud moment for me at that age. And then I think I started to push and sacrifice, and then like dedicate my life to tennis. And then, yeah, I get goosebumps, playing for my country, and regardless of the fact that we are not like compensated or anything, that I love the sport, and then I just want to give back to like Nepal,
Of course.
and because I wouldn't be like the person and the player I am without tennis.
Sure. Okay. One thing you just one thing I wanted to ask you. So, when you're playing the game, any sport, especially at that level, there is some sort of pressure. Like especially when you're playing, let's say, usually I don't know if you play like all three, or a set of three or a set of five, or whatever you play. Is it usually play your 3 sets or 5 sets?
3 sets.
3 sets, right? Okay. So, but still, there's a lot of pressure. How do you cope with the pressure, right? See, I mean, one of the things that is a there's a stark difference between soccer or like football and tennis and the other sports, right? Soccer is continuous. Like you don't really have too much time to think about it unless you're taking penalties.
Right.
Tennis is, let's say you double faulted this round, and you're at a position where you cannot afford to like double fault again or whatever that is. How do you cope with the mentality? Like, can you tune out, or how do you handle those?
That's
those
a good
pressure
question. I think all these things comes from experience. Experience is the best teacher. And then I've played so many tennis matches, right? Like, I mean, since I came to US like 2016, so I've till now, like every year I was playing like close to 100 matches. So I've learned a lot about myself, and then for me, like pressure is a privilege, and then I try to trick my self, saying like, okay, I have few mantras that I write it down, like have fun, embrace the pressure, stay in the moment, I mean, it's not life or death, and then I just try to make it more fun. And then if I make a bad error or something, I just like smile, or like I let go of, winners and errors quickly, and I try to stay in the present and try to stay engaged longer,
Focus on the next point, maybe.
Yeah, tennis is very tricky because sometimes you play a 3-second point, like let's say I hit a serve, and then the ball doesn't come back, and then I have like 25 seconds in between. So it's like, how do I manage my mind, my emotions, and how do I reset for the next point, And then it's very important to use that 25 seconds, like have a good ritual, focus on the breathing, and then get ready for the next one. And then there's a lot of voices in your head, so you want to stay calm, like face your own battle. There's
course,
like outer game, and then there's an inner game within you.
The first battle is within yourself, right? I mean, one of the tricky things about tennis also is the crowd will cheer, and then obviously there is a period that they need to calm down, and now you have to like focus on the point. But I'm sure like the psychological game that you're sort of playing with yourself, that is kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and last thing, and I try to sometimes trick my head, saying like, oh, if I'm up, I try to say, oh, I'm like down, so it kind of, there's a sense of urgency while playing.
Okay. So out of these big countries, I mean, when I say big, because in the context of the situation, right? Qatar, Yemen, Maldives, Guam, Brunei, Bahrain, almost all of these countries are, they're economically, they're more stronger than Nepal, right? They have better resources, they have better players, I'm sure, better coaches. Out of these 6 games that you had, was there any particular one that was a little bit more challenging?
Obviously, I think the best player I've played in the Davis Cup is the first match I played for Nepal, and then the number 1 player from Qatar. He's played 7 or 8 ATP 250 because they're all held in Qatar.
Okay.
He's played Stefano Tsitsipas, in the 250. He's played all these big players because if Nepal had a professional tournament, I would like get a wild card. But the sad part is we don't even have one professional tournament, and then Qatar has like one of the biggest tournaments in the world. So obviously, being a Qatari, like you get all these opportunities and stuff, and then for me, like I have to travel halfway across the world just to play a tournament, and that's on my own expense too. So
okay, no, that's the most challenging part is I just don't quite understand the government's lack of effort or theirs, for these tournaments also, Abhishek, you have like these 6 of these countries. How does Nepal get invited? Is it just by invite, or how does Nepal get invited into?
So
Anyone can get in, or how does that? Can you explain that a little bit?
World Cup, I think right now maybe there's like 200 countries, and then we started at Group 5. So before that, like you have to be a member for Davis Cup, and we as in Nepal, like I think we were not even able to put like $5,000. Just that's a membership fee for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then so for all these years, like we missed out on that opportunity because I think like we were not able to get like set $5,000, which isn't a lot for a federation or organization.
Correct.
But I think it's more about interest in Nepal, and then like I just feel like there's no depth of knowledge of tennis in Nepal, and then that makes it difficult for like development, and then it's just like a very old school way still. I mean, the world has like there's AI and everything going on, but and then obviously it's a very expensive sport, so that limits the people that play
the game, right?
sport.
Right.
So there's not enough. There's more like a veteran playing tennis in Nepal than
it's more like a recreational sport, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're relaxed or त्यो धनीहरूले खेल्ने गेम भन्ने एउटा टाइपको एउटा कुरा निक्लिने हो नि त.
Yeah, that is true. In a way that people, like people's salary in Nepal is like maybe $200 a month, and then the last thing they're thinking about is playing tennis.
Exactly.
And then that just limits the competition. And then for me, I feel like being from Nepal, there's a lot of disadvantage, and I just feel like if ITF or something can make the playing field even and give more opportunities for like people from like more like underdeveloped countries, like that would be like helpful.
Absolutely.
Or African players, that would be like really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, one thing very important, and for people who are listening to this, and I'll try to get the message out as much as I can. Where can we come and support you? Like in what ways, or let's say if the Nepali player, we definitely want to support in every shape or form. Is there any particular avenue where people like us can help you out, get the word out, basically? What can we do?
Yeah, I think for me right now, I think financial is like a super important thing. I think if I can just break even playing tennis for another 5 years, I would be like super happy, and then I would not have any regrets. But I think it's kind of like having to, put everything out of my own pocket to like go to the tournaments, like flights, hotel. I'm getting into all these UTR tournaments, or like, before I was getting into all these ITF tournaments, but then I would not travel because it was so difficult for me, like financially, and then I was like, I felt that pressure. And other thing is like a visa, being a Nepali, like, I mean, I have to get visa in advance everywhere. So let's say if I have to fly tomorrow or like in 4 or 5 days to somewhere, like that's not possible in Europe. For Europe, so it would take me 3 weeks to get a Schengen visa and things like that. So
those are obviously the visa is a little bit of a different challenge, but financially, hopefully, the message at least goes out to people and to organizations that can possibly help you, or possibly help you. I think that'll be great. So, suggestions for any aspiring tennis players, Abhishek, like from your end, like if there's any players from Nepal that are, looking up to the TV sets, and they say they see like tennis players playing well. What's your suggestion for those upcoming players?
Yeah, I think for number one thing is like you have to be like self-driven. Tennis is a very individual sport. It's a wild sport, where like you have to hold yourself accountable, and then like no one's gonna play for you on the court, and then you like as a player, you can't cheat yourself. You have to work extremely hard, and then sometimes it might not seem like you have a path, but you just have to like keep working hard, and then eventually it's like connecting the dots. Like I think if I didn't work hard like in the juniors, I would not have had the college opportunity, and then I think that college opportunity like made me ready for like my pro journey and things like that, and then like don't lose hope.
And I think like you're a great example, Abhishek. You did find a path, right? Like think about it. You did find a path
Right.
because you had that inner drive in you, and obviously that's where I think the universe kind of comes together and kind of helps you out a little bit.
Right.
Where your friends that on your tour talked about the U.S. college, and again, I've lived here almost 20 years. You've been here like 9 years. And obviously, you've seen these things a lot closer. So if the Nepali government, and we don't really get a lot of support from the government and the local organizations, there is no other choice other than to pursue the path that you've chosen, which is the correct path.
Yeah.
Because you have to do what's right for you, and I think you follow your passion. So first of all, congratulations, you've done very, very well, and let's hope that we find a couple sponsors or a couple places where we can support you financially. Can you tell us, how can we by the way, for people, can you share your Instagram, your Facebook, so that people know where to find you?
My Facebook is Abhishek Bastola, just my name, and then my Instagram is like a bit complicated. K1NGABH and then 1.
Okay, and I'll share that. I'll tag you so it's easier for people to understand. Also, all right. One thing you mentioned, just backtrack just a little bit. You want to see yourself play in the Olympics, represent Nepal. I think that'll be fabulous. We will be there, definitely to support you in every shape or form. What's the path for the Olympics? Is it like pretty straightforward, or is it, because I'm pretty sure there is a. I don't think it's an easy path, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, and I think I mean there's a few pros and cons. Being from Nepal, like if I'm like top 300-400 in the world, then I could get a wildcard to the Olympics. Where if I'm like 100 American, then I would never like see the
Sure.
So I think if I can be like top around 300-400 in the world by like 27 or 2028, then I have a shot of getting a wild card into the Olympics.
Okay, wild card. So obviously 2028.
Yes.
That's the LA Olympics.
Yes.
So we have an outside chance of making it possibly?
I don't know. Right now it's so really far, but you never know. I think things start clicking and I start to have some good result, and I could
you can make it. Okay, no, I mean let's hope. If you're going to be there in LA Olympics, definitely we have a good. I'm pretty sure you'll get like a lot of support from the Nepali community here in the US. Going back to the childhood idols, you mentioned you had Djokovic. Djokovic, I think one of the most fabulous players to have graced the sport. Is he your absolute favorite?
Yeah, I think I always admired Djokovic. I mean, even though like before, like people used to criticize him for his attitude and stuff like that, but I always, think he was very authentic. And then the brand of tennis he plays, I think I that's something that I try to emulate, like Djokovic and Andy Murray, and that's the sort of style that I play as well.
Okay. I don't know. There was probably like an overlap when you were growing up and watching. You had the Federer and Nadal and Djokovic, right?
Yeah.
So you also had Andy Murray as you listed him as one of your idols as well. What are your thoughts on Nadal and Federer?
Yeah, I mean, Nadal is like, they're all like one of the best players ever to like pick up a racket in the history of tennis. And Nadal has like his own, fighting spirit, he's untouchable on clay. And then Roger has his own, like very like, he's elegant. I mean, he just looks like he's not trying,
The incredible thing that I learned about, I need to like kind of brush up my knowledge on Federer again. तर उसको त्यो एउटा the fitness that he had, he barely broke any sweat. That's what I learned about him, right? Like he was so fit, right? Like it's incredible. And some of the shots that they said, again, they were talking about some of the shots that he was able to make was like the odds of that was like almost like one in whatever that number is, right? So he was an incredible player. Obviously, all my favorite Abhishek was Nadal because of like that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lose kind of attitude with him, right? And it was just fabulous to see, both of them kind of finish their career, and then they had that very emotional match or time where they just cried, and it was like just a beautiful thing to see, just as a sport, like two legends of the game. It was great. I know that I have been following you for like a little while now. So in order for someone to play at the highest level, your fitness has to be up there. You can't really compromise your fitness. Fitness by anyone, you can't really do anything, right? So can you take us through your routine of your fitness? Like, what do you do typically? And can you take us through that?
So till college, I think in college, we had a fitness trainer and stuff. But before that, like, I think my fitness was like, I would kill myself, like till I think during the college times, because like when you're young, you don't know, and then I think in your head you're like, like, or try to run as fast as you can. There's not much structure, but I think jump ropes, sprints, like lift weights and things like that. But then now, like, I think I've become more smarter, like in terms of fitness. So I think fitness meaning, like, I think first of all, I try to take care of my mind, the energy, like people I surround with myself with and stuff like that. Because like if you're like not mentally in a good headspace, like doesn't matter how fit you are, like you're not gonna play well. So I think so I try to do yoga right now, like at least 3-4 times a week. And I try to do strength training like 2-3 times a week, agility like once or twice a week, and then I try to play tennis like 2-3 hours every day. So everything combined, and then recovery is super important. So before I even step onto the court, I try to do like 45 minutes of like mobility, foam rolling, stuff like that, because like it's super important to take care of the body, the joints, like the ankle mobility, knee, hips, shoulder, wrist, elbow, because tennis is like it's a lot of lateral movement, start, stop. You have to use your whole body, and then and the chances of getting injured are really high. So if you don't do these things like day to day, it's very difficult to play at a higher level, and then it's like it's a gateway to injury, if you're not and then I try to focus a lot on recovery, like ice bath, Theragun. I use Theragun. I try to get massage twice a week.
Okay.
And what's the other thing? And I try to do a lot of these workout classes here in San Jose, like Pilates, HIIT workout, spin class, like a couple of times a week, and just try to mix it up so like I have a different variety, and then it's not just like monotonous, it's like I like to be alive and try different things.
You try changing things. So cardio, how much what are the primary things you focus on cardio? Like, is it
it's more like high intensity, like interval training. So meaning like 20 seconds, like 20 seconds on, like 15 seconds rest, or like 30 seconds on, like kind of I try to simulate it as like a tennis match, sometimes like 10 seconds hard, like 5 seconds rest, and things like that, where like in 45 minutes I get a really good sweat, or like an hour I get a really good sweat out of it. And I do F45 sometimes, like a couple times a week.
What is F45?
F45 is like it's a workout where you have like 30 different stations, and it's all like different kind of different they have different workouts every day, but it's like 30 seconds fast, and then you have like a rest.
High intensity.
Yes, exactly, high intensity interval training.
I was going to ask you one probably like your secret that you probably don't want to give away. So future opponents of Abhishek, please turn this podcast off right now. So what would you say, like, what your game style is? Because I followed tennis for quite a while. Lately, I have not as much as I'd like to. But when I was watching it, one of my all-time favorites was Patrick Rafter, like the Australian, all those years ago. He had a very big serve and volley game, right? But the games have obviously changed. Is there like a particular, because I know you said you try to emulate Djokovic a little bit.
Yes.
So what would you say your game style is?
My game style, I think I was a big grinder before, meaning like I would put a lot of balls in the court, like just make an extra ball, and then I think over the years I think developed my game a lot, meaning I think I'm more like a all court player. If I see a hole in someone's game, then I try to expose that, and then like adjust and adapt, different condition, different players, and then I think now that I adjust very quickly, and my returns are really good.
Okay.
My serve can get better, like
Okay.
at the world class level, and then I would say I'm just a very smart player.
Okay. So I know there's like different styles. Again, I need to really get back into tennis. It's been like a little while. I think I watched Alcaraz win I think he won the Wimbledon probably a couple of years back or probably a year back. So is that game style still out there? Like right now, if you are following the game, are the players very heavy on serves? Because you had players like Pete Sampras, who was very, very heavy on serve. He was a good all-round player, but I think his serve was probably like the strongest suit, right? You had other players that were, like I said, Patrick Rafter was very, very good at serve and volley. That was his game. Has the game kind of evolved from that to like more all-round, where serve is okay, but you're also like your backhands and your forehands, your lobs, these are all equally important?
Yeah, so a few things in tennis is like for now, like you have to be incredibly good athlete, like be able to move well. And nowadays, like, even a 6'10" guy like moves really well. So, and then serve and return is like super important, because that's the earlier stages of the point. If you don't have a good serve, like you're not going to be a good tennis player. So serve and then return is like earlier stages of the point, and then comes like the rally and stuff. But now, like I think like the conditions before were like a bit faster, so like people would get more reward, like taking more risks, like hitting bigger serve, because the conditions were faster. But now, like the balls have become slower, the courts have become slower, so I think that allows like
when you say the courts have become slower, you're talking about all the grass court and the clay court, everything has gone slower?
Yeah, most of the courts, like now, I mean, grass, I don't know, I haven't played on grass, but most of the conditions are like you don't get more reward. You have to like really build a point. It's like if you just hit a one powerful like forehand or a backhand, like most of the balls are like gonna come back, unless you like create a good point and then finish up in the net, or like
Is it because the balls have gone like lighter? Is that what the logic is, or
court is very slow too, so that means like I think for the viewers, like it's an entertainment, so they want more rallies. So I think they're kind of going towards that direction. And then
interesting.
And obviously you have to be super fit to have long rallies.
Absolutely, because you're all the runs. I mean, some of the rallies that you see are just. I mean, see, as someone who just watches it on TV or like just from the outside, it's pretty entertainment. But when you're running around like that, it's tough, I'm sure. Okay. So let's imagine that you get the magic wand for a week. Bhagwan le aara, Abhishek, here you go. You have all the powers in the world to transform tennis in Nepal, right? How would you go about it? Like, what would you do? Like, let's say, because you've seen the system, right? So how would you go about that?
Yeah, I think the first thing, like, I mean, like it's just very sad to hear, like, oh, like, we have no money and stuff like that, where like, there's a lot of like extremely wealthy people like playing tennis in Nepal. So yeah, we just try to get a lot of funds, in Nepal, because that, and then I think the fund has to be allocated in the right way, like to people who are playing. I mean, there's like players that are like really struggling. I mean, like there's I think like no one actually makes a living in Nepal just by playing tennis. I think the guys who are playing tennis right now, I mean, most of them, I think the old players, like the ex number ones and stuff, they had to leave the country to coach, somewhere else in Dubai, in Maldives, and then there's a lot of kids like players, they are going to Maldives to coach tennis, and then it's just, I feel like tennis is a dying sport in Nepal, and I just feel like
The
I think if
government.
there's more funds or reward, for being a tennis player, I think that's gonna encourage like more players to pick up a racket. Where
Sure.
a situation like mine, where like you're not getting a penny for winning all these Davis Cup matches. I don't think like it would encourage anybody to like play tennis, because what's the point? Where there's no reward.
Yeah, yeah. I think as human beings, we are ingrained to live for incentives. Like, so obviously, you have to have incentives, like, right, and then more better you do, or you do in certain sports or activities, and obviously you should be rewarded for the right reasons too. And again, it's crazy that we did so well with the Davis Cup wins.
Yeah.
And also, like, perhaps I think we could use more advertisement of the game. That, and I think what would definitely, I can promise you one thing: if for some great reason, and for your hard work, if you do make it to the Olympics, I think that's going to open up at least a small door for the next generation of Nepali tennis players, like the kids who will see you and see Abhishek, playing at this highest level. He made it to the Olympics despite not getting a lot of support within the country, right? Like from the government. So I think that's extremely important for. Hopefully, let's make it to the Olympics, Abhishek. If we can get there, I think that'll be great for the entire nation. So I know one thing I did wanted to talk about also was, obviously you traveled almost 20 international tournaments, right? So was Davis Cup, was that your favorite out of the all the ones that you had? Or
Yeah, I think my favorites were, like all the Asian games that I've played. I think Asian games is like, I was 15 years old when I played my first Asian games, from Nepal.
And so let me stop you right there. So sorry. So you're the only Nepali to have represented in 3 Asian games, or 3 times basically, right?
Yeah, I think I might probably be the only
one.
male player to represent Nepal 3 times.
Okay. How was that experience, like playing in the Asian games? Was it?
Yeah, it was like, I think I felt like that was an event, Asian Games, because I haven't played any event bigger than the Asian Games, because I think that's like one of the biggest Asian sporting event. And then I think after the next biggest event would probably be the Olympics, So I think that was great opportunity, again, being in the same like locker room with like with all the best Asian players there, and I think that definitely like I got more hungry, having that experience when I was like 15 years old to be better and to do something in this sport.
No, that's great. And obviously, first of all, again, I've already like mentioned this a couple times, but it doesn't hurt to mention it one more time. Congratulations! This is not a joke. This is not we're not in a situation where we have like thousands of players coming through, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but again, I think you've chosen a great path, and it has rewarded you to a certain extent. It has, but I hope that path still kind of goes forward. Last but not the least, what I want to do is, how, you mentioned that people can find you. Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
I don't, I'm not a big tech guy,
Maybe in the future. So you have Instagram, you have Facebook, so people can reach out, and then we will do our best to get you support in any shape or form to get this campaign going. So hopefully you will make it to the Olympics. That'll be a great feat for Nepal. Anything that you want to add, before we end this session?
I think I live by this quote, and then I want to finish up with this quote, like greatness comes from character, and then character is built through like suffering. In my journey into, I have like loved to suffer, and then there's like no pain, no gain. So you have to you have to love to suffer. I mean, you have to go through all this adversity if you want to achieve something great. And then, I mean, I feel like this is just the beginning of my tennis career. Like right now, like people are playing, like you said, till 38, 39 with the sports science and everything going on. So yeah, I definitely want to put Nepal in the tennis map, and I hope to have a long and a great career. And next time I sit here, like we can talk about my Olympic experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't wait for that journey. And I can't wait to talk about the Olympics and how it was for you. Abhishek, thank you so much. And again, everyone, this is available on YouTube or Spotify. But I'll put up Abhishek's details on the Instagram post, and anyone can reach out to Abhishek. Please, we need to help getting him all the support that we can, because Abhishek is someone that has played this sport for a long, long time and has achieved so much, just with the very limited resources that he's had. And just imagine that if we can support him in more fashion, right? So again, Abhishek, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thanks.